Let's talk about it, yeah? Cool. You might be a deep thinker, or here's another one. Someone tells you about their day, just a casual story, nothing major. And while they're talking, your brain is analyzing the subtext, picking up on the tone shifts, wondering about what they're not saying, making connections to 3 other conversations you've had, and simultaneously questioning your own reaction to their story. And then they're done talking and looking at you expectantly, and you realize you haven't said anything because you were too busy thinking. If this sounds familiar, welcome. You're in the right place. Today we're diving into the psychology of deep thinkers, people whose brains just work differently, who can't seem to experience anything on a surface level, who are exhausted by the world in ways other people don't understand. And if that's you, I want you to know something right off the bat. You're not broken. You're not overthinking because something's wrong with you. This is just how your brain works. It goes deep, automatically, constantly, whether you want it to or not. Deep thinking isn't about intelligence, though there can be overlap. You can be incredibly smart and still think in pretty surface level ways, and you can be a deep thinker without being traditionally smart in the academic sense. Deep thinking is more about how you process information and experience the world. Here's what it actually looks like. You need to understand the why behind everything. Someone tells you a rule or a social norm and you can't just accept it. You need to know why it exists, who benefits from it, what would happen if it was different. Other people just do things. You need to understand things. You see patterns and connections everywhere. Something happens, and your brain immediately links it to 5 other things that seem unrelated to everyone else but make perfect sense to you. You're constantly connecting dots that other people don't even see. You experience things on multiple layers simultaneously. When you watch a movie, you're not just following the plot. You're analyzing the cinematography, the symbolism, what the director might be saying about society, how the music affects the mood, why that actor made that specific choice in that scene. It's exhausting but also automatic. You replay conversations for days, sometimes years. Something someone said to you in 2015, yeah, you still think about it. You see more detail, which is amazing, but also overwhelming because you can't unsee the detail once you notice it. Deep thinkers tend to have what psychologists call high cognitive complexity. Basically, your brain creates more elaborate mental models of the world. Where someone else sees black and white, you see 17 shades of gray and also some colors that might not technically exist yet. There's also research suggesting that deep thinkers have more active default mode networks. That's the part of your brain that's engaged when you're not focused on the external world. When other people's brains are kind of idling, your brain is running a whole simulation about the nature of consciousness or whatever. Deep thinkers also often score high in trait openness, one of the big 5 personality traits. High openness means you're intellectually curious, comfortable with abstract concepts, and drawn to exploring ideas just for the sake of exploring them. And here's an interesting one. There's evidence that deep thinkers might process sensory information more intensely. This connects to something called sensory processing sensitivity, which brings me to, for deep thinkers, small talk is legitimately painful. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way. I mean your brain actively rebels against it. Here's why. Your brain is wired to seek meaning, depth, and genuine connection. Small talk is, by definition, the opposite of all those things. It's surface level, it's scripted, it's basically just noise. So when someone asks, how about this weather, your brain short circuits because A, you know they don't actually care about your thoughts on meteorological patterns. B, you could give them an interesting answer about weather patterns or climate change or how humans have lost touch with nature, but you know that's not what they want. C, the correct response is just to mirror their comment with equal superficiality, but that feels fake and meaningless. D, now you're stuck in this loop of analyzing the social ritual of small talk instead of just doing the small talk. Meanwhile, they've moved on to talking to someone else, and you're still standing there having an internal crisis about the nature of human communication. I have a friend, deep thinker, brilliant person, who once told me she'd rather sit in complete silence with someone than make small talk. At least silence is honest. And I get it, when your brain craves depth, when you're constantly searching for meaning and real connection, surface level interactions feel like eating air. Technically you're consuming something, but it doesn't nourish you at all. The problem is, society runs on small talk. It's how people ease into relationships, build rapport, navigate social situations. But you can't, because this is just how your brain works. You can be in a room full of people and feel utterly alone because nobody's having the conversations you want to have. Nobody's asking the questions you're asking. Nobody seems to notice the things you notice. Let me give you a real example. A few months ago, I was at dinner with some friends. Good people. People I genuinely like. And someone mentioned they were thinking about making a career change. For the next 20 minutes, everyone's giving advice. Follow your passion and make a pros and cons list. Just go for it. And I'm sitting there thinking about how the concept of career is this relatively modern construct, how we've tied our identities so completely to what we do for money, how the advice, follow your passion, assumes everyone has a clear passion and the privilege to pursue it, how this person is probably asking about career change because they're searching for meaning in a world that increasingly feels meaningless. But I can't say any of that. Because that's not what the conversation is. The conversation is happening on one level, and my brain is 5 levels deep, and there's no bridge between the two. So I just nod and say something generic, and I feel completely disconnected from everyone at the table, even though I'm right there. This happens constantly when you're a deep thinker. You meet someone new, and they seem cool, and you're excited to connect, but then every conversation stays surface level, and you realize they're not interested in going deeper, and you feel disappointed even though they didn't do anything wrong. Or you try to share what you're thinking about, and people look at you like you're being too intense, too serious, too much. Don't wish away your depth just because other people don't understand it, but here's what I need you to understand. Being a deep thinker is also an incredible gift. You have the capacity for insight that most people don't. While everyone else is skating on the surface, you're diving deep and finding things that matter. Patterns, meanings, connections, truths. You see people more clearly. You pick up on things others miss. The slight change in someone's tone, the contradiction between what they say and what they do, the hurt they're hiding behind a smile. This makes you an incredible friend when you find people who appreciate being truly seen. You create with more depth. Whether you're an artist, a writer, a designer, a programmer, whatever, your work has layers. You think about the implications, the meaning, the impact. Your creations aren't just functional or pretty, they say something. You solve problems differently. You don't just address the surface issue. You dig into the root cause. You see the interconnections. You think through second and third order consequences. This makes you invaluable in complex situations. The goal isn't to fit in perfectly. The goal is to find the places and people where your kind of different is valued. First, find your people. They exist, I promise. Other deep thinkers are out there, feeling just as lonely as you are, wondering if anyone else gets it. Seek out spaces where depth is valued. Philosophy groups, book clubs, creative communities, online forums. Your people are looking for you too. Second, give yourself permission to need alone time. Your brain processes a lot. You need time to decompress, to think, to integrate. That's not antisocial, that's self-care. Stop apologizing for it. Third, learn to code switch. Yes, small talk is exhausting, but it's also sometimes necessary. Think of it like learning a second language. You don't have to love it, but having the skill makes life easier. Save your depth for people who can meet you there. Fourth, channel your thinking into something. Write, create, build, teach, whatever. Let's connect in the comments. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Connecting with people takes more effort. You're tired in ways other people don't understand. But you also experience beauty more deeply, love more profoundly, understand more completely, and create more meaningfully. Your depth is not a flaw. It's not something to fix or apologize for. The world needs people who think deeply, who ask the hard questions, who see beyond the surface. So if that's you, if you've been sitting here, nodding along, feeling seen for the first time in a while, keep going. Keep thinking, keep questioning, keep diving deep. Your people are out there. Your purpose is out there. And your way of experiencing the world, as exhausting as it can be, is exactly what makes you valuable. If this resonated, hit that like button. It helps other deep thinkers find this video.